Hello friends, Tanya here with the second video for today. I am going to feature Bibi Cameron's musical notes collection, and we're going to use that color wheel palette that we picked on my previous video. The Bibi's musical notes came out this month, and it is a large collection with some really beautiful and unique things. We have this majestic guitar, and it is a delightful die set. We also have this box side panels die. This will make it so that you can create boxes out of any kind of large shape. Mini musical instruments, which it's just that. And then we have the musical notes and stave pop-up die. This creates a beautiful pop-up for the inside of your card that's really easy to do. And we have this cute little mini guitar, which also has some florals you can use on all of the different instruments. We also have this 3D embossing folder called Musical Notes, which I love. It's gorgeous. We also have the Family Musical Mix Greetings. There are 24 stamps in this selection with several sentiments and lots of familial words. Let's assemble the mini guitar first here. We're going to use that color palette that I chose from the previous video to pick the flowers and the other colors for this series of cards, because I'm making, I think, two cards, well, a card and a box in this video. So we're going to assemble these flowers. Most of these come with 2 layers and a center. There's one die that cuts 4 flower centers for you. No, 3. I think, no, 4, because there's one you can layer. There's 2 different sizes of circles that you can layer on each other. I'm going to just use one of them. We have the larger multi-petal flower and a medium-sized one. Plus we have this small 3-petal flower. And I chose to die cut the centers out of some gold glitter cardstock from the gold assortment of treasured cardstock. We also have a die that cuts 2 different leaves. And this is the guitar. Lots of great embossed details on these pieces. We've got the shadow piece for the guitar that has a nice embossed line that helps you fit the other layer right on top of it. The oh, I don't know what this part is called. I am not a guitar player. Anyway, the part that has all the strings, there's this piece that anchors all of the strings on your guitar. There are a couple of pieces for the holes for the guitar. There's this, I'm not sure if it's decorative and probably protective of the body of the guitar, that kind of heel shaped piece. And the gold there are 2 pieces in that circle. I'm just lining up this piece, this accent piece, next to the hole. My guess is that protects the body of the guitar from the friction of the hand as you're strumming over the strings. Just going to adhere that right up to the edge of that circle. There's a little bit of a half moon effect at the bottom of the neck of the guitar. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. And I popped in that white, but you could leave that out. The strings are embossed into that cardstock also. I'm also going to try laying a couple flowers on there. Next, we're going to assemble the other guitar in this collection. This is the Majestic guitar, and this is like full 5x7 sized card base, or guitar. This will fit from top to bottom on a 5x7 card. It's actually really cool. I am going to take this really decorative piece here and apply that over the part where the strings for this go through the guitar base. Now you can do some stitching on this, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm also going to layer this second piece over the top. I think that looks really cool. I don't know if it is supposed to go on there together with the more filigreed piece or not, but I'm doing it. And then I am going to start assembling the circles around the hole in the front of your guitar. Now this one die cuts several different pieces for circles, so you can add some extra details here. Now I'm going to start with the largest, and I, in retrospect, should have started with the smallest because it's just the easiest to get all of these lined up evenly around the opening. There is some embossing in the body of the guitar, but it's just easier to start with the area that's going to be closest to the center, where you're going to see the biggest difference in the frame of around the circle. So I started with, I believe that is some pearlized gold followed by some matte gold, and then another layer of the pearlized gold from the gold assortment of the treasured cardstock. And you can see where there's a little more white on one side than the other. But that glue is good. It is stuck. So we're just going to go with it, and that's okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. That is just a little user error. Next, there are, I think these are called fingerboards on the neck of the guitar. I'm not positive. I, again, never played the guitar. One of my children played it just loosely. We had guitars in the household for my musically inclined kiddos to play with, but nobody ever took guitar lessons. Here I'm trying to figure out the best way to attach the neck of this guitar. And I do like it overlapping the hole just a little bit. I think that gives it the best look. Next, I'm taking some of this diamant DMC metallic thread. I cut a nice long length. I almost forgot to put on these little fingering guides. I think that's what these are called. Again, all you guitar players out there, feel free to correct me. This is not a musical instrument that I played. I was a woodwind player. I played clarinet and bass clarinet in high school. I was a teen mom. You may have heard me mention that before. I was a junior in high school when I got pregnant with our oldest child, and I was playing bass clarinet at that time. And as my pregnancy progressed, I carried that child so high that I did not have the lung capacity to play the bass clarinet. I think once I was about 5 months along, I had to switch back to the regular clarinet because I just really couldn't fill my lungs enough to blow the large instrument's notes. My kids have played, let's see, my oldest played the saxophone, then the next one played clarinet, and then the next one played trombone, and the last one played saxophone and viola, which is a slightly larger violin. Well, it's not a violin, but it's slightly larger than the violin. It's a string instrument, and that child can pick up any instrument and just start playing. Very musically talented. All of them were in choir. I don't sing. I thought I sang really well in choir when I was in grade school, but don't we all? I was never in choir. I do like to sing to the radio in the car. Yeah, that is fun. Anyway, we are almost done assembling this beautiful guitar. I really love the way that this was put together. Bibi, you did a great job. I don't know if it was just working with designers to approve this or if you were very integral in drawing these elements. It is a beautiful collection of musical instrument themed products. Now, I doubled up on the neck of this guitar because I want to make this into a box. Just laying that extra layer of cardstock on here. I used some 100-pound white cardstock and some Desert Storm cardstock for the neck here. And then I used gold cardstock from the gold assortment treasured cardstock packs for most of the rest of this. I wanted to make it very, I don't know, classic looking, clean, crisp. That's really, if you have watched the Righteous Gemstones, this reminds me of the oh, the thumbnail on, I think it's on HBO Max, that you see for the Righteous Gemstones. It's about a gospel family, and it's hilarious. I love it. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. Um, it's kind of on the same, uh, yeah, it's funny. It's very funny. Anyway, we're going to now create a box. Now, I found the best way to do this. I didn't actually film. It's bend these little teeth down a little bit, and then with the teeth facing up, you're going to use your bone folder to just slide on down towards you to fold them over, and that works really well. Now, I did try to do this with just plain glue first, which would work the best, but I'm trying to film this, and so I was trying to move more quickly. Now, if you're using liquid glue, you have to stop and let things dry before you move to the next component. And by using the double-sided sticky tape here, you can get it all adhered in a fairly quick manner. I'm just using my 1/8 inch score tape here to add a line of adhesive all the way around the outer edge here of the guitar. Now, this is going to be the top of the box, and I do have 2 layers of the guitar base here box to add some extra stability to this. And then I just go along the edge and tack it down into the double-sided tape. Now, this lets go probably, I don't know, the day after I constructed this box. So I highly recommend that you use a lighter weight cardstock for the side panels. I use the 100-pound cardstock. I would use an 80-pound or less for the sides, just because it makes them a little less, they fight the curves less in the long run. They're not as strong in their resistance to the shaping. I guess I wouldn't go lower than 80-pound, to be honest. And I would use liquid glue because that has the best holding power. I would also probably adhere these seams together a little tighter because mine wanted to bow out. So this, I didn't refilm this. I did not have time to refilm this. You see me tacking that down a little bit with my fingertips, and it will look great when I redo this. It looks good when I'm done for the video, but like I said, the next day that glue all let loose. So next time, again, liquid glue, and just take your time holding that glue, those little teeth down into the glue until they dry enough to hold on their own. Now for the bottom, I just put that line of glue a little further in on the base, and that creates a cute little box. And it's actually not that little. As you can see, it's at least the size of the palm of my hand. To add a little more decoration to this, I'm taking some of the flowers from the mini guitar, and we're going to add those to the front of our guitar here. I just wanted to give this a little more fun. Just adding little dots of glue on the backs of these prepared flowers, and we have to give them enough time to dry. I don't think it would have been easier to add these to the guitar before we added the side panels, because you want that top to sit pretty flat while you're trying to adhere the side panels. Just adding some some leaves to these florals, because foliage always makes the flowers pop more. It creates a really lovely setting for your jewels. There we go. I love that little collection of flowers on the front of the guitar. Next, we're going to take a sentiment from the stamp set in the collection. Well, actually, I didn't, did I? No, I was going to, but I should have done that first. Now let's move on to the card. We're going to use these. Oh no, yeah, we're going to use these on the card. I'm going to assemble the mini musical instruments. We've got the trumpet here, and I have that in matte gold and the pearlized gold, or pearl gold, pearl metal. Anyway, these are all from the treasured cardstock in the gold assortment. And you can see that the little finger valves for the trumpet are additional pieces that you layer over the top. You don't have to do this part. That's totally optional. but I think it adds a lot. For the saxophone, we've got the keyholes, the buttons that are an additional die. And again, this is matte gold base with the pearl metallic gold. Just going to add those to the base, and because they are metallic specialty cardstocks, you do have to be a little more careful and give them just a little more time to dry, otherwise they slide around. There's also a mouthpiece, which I keep finding that it's sliding around. Yep. Then the mouthpiece, you could make that black. Most of the time, those are black on a real instrument, but for continuity, for style choices, I chose to keep it gold. Here is the violin or fiddle or viola, however you want to think of it. We're going to add the chin rest on the base of the violin. We'll add the neck, which actually goes all the way down to the base of the violin. And then we have the bow. And then we have a keyboard. Now this is really easy. There's only two dies. There's the large rectangular die and then the drop-in die that creates this detail piece. Just adding little bits of glue on each of those areas that I feel needs a little glue to keep it in place. And I die cut these from pearl metallic white and black from the antique collection and the antique assortment and the onyx assortment. I really love the specialty cardstocks for all of these. Next, we have a microphone, and I cut those from the silver assortment. We've got glitter cardstock, and I think that's matte silver for the background piece. There is a little tiny screw here. That's the adjustable portion for your microphone to adjust the tilt. And there we have 4 musical instruments and a microphone, and those did not take very long to put together at all. Next, I'm going to use that color swatch again to pick some colors to create a background for the front of this card. We've got Fired Brick, Distress Spritz, and then we also have Kitsch Flamingo, and I think that's Worn Lipstick, and Salvage Patina, I think, is the last one. Yeah, that's a really nice, subtle rainbow. So and Twisted Citron. I almost forgot about that one. And Antique Linen for the fawn colored on that color palette. So I'm going to shake these really well. I'm going to clean each nozzle as I finish because I just really hate it when they clog. I do have some spare spray heads for when they do clog because, yeah, my Worn Lipstick did clog. And then I'm just spritzing I'm trying to go diagonal across the whole thing and create a rainbow of colors. We'll finish up with the blue and the brown, the Salvage Patina and the Antique Linen. And this looks like a hot mess right now. Don't worry, it will look really well here in just a minute. I'm going to heat set that with my heat tool. And you could let this air dry. I am not that patient. And look at that. It actually looks pretty darn good. Next, we're going to take the 5x7 Matting Basic Set B largest die and die cut that. Now, when I do run this through, I do also put a piece of copy paper over the top of that. We're also going to use the Musical Notes 3D embossing folder on that panel. I love how that embossing catches all of that shimmer and shine, and it just makes it stand out even more. We're also going to spritz a piece of heavyweight white cardstock that I'm spritzing with the same colors as I did earlier. And this is going to be for the inside of the card. I used watercolor cardstock for the front of the card. I just really wanted to be able to use a cardstock that was going to take all of the abuse I was putting it through. And sometimes watercolor cardstock is the best bet. Now for the inside of the card, that would have been a little too thick and heavy. And I decided to just spatter this background with the Twisted Citron to get that green everywhere. instead of spritzing it. Now that we have that dry piece, we're going to take that musical notes and stave pop-up, and we're going to use that circular pop-up piece. So this actually doesn't cut the circle completely out. It will stay attached. Look at that. It just creates this spiral so that you can attach it to the inside of your card to create your pop-up feature. Now I want to stamp a sentiment in the middle of this circle so that when you open it up and that pop-up is complete, you can see what it says inside. So I'm just going to roughly mark where that circle is going to be before I do my stamping on the base of the card base. So I'm going to open that all the way up, and I'm going to use a couple of sentiments from that stamp set that comes in this collection. I have both of them adhered to the, I have my Altenew 2.0 stamp wheel here, and I'm going to stamp this a couple of times with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And let me open it up. I forgot what I put it in there. It says, "Getting better with every riff. Happy birthday," which is awesome. I'm just going to use my white eraser here to remove those pencil marks before I adhere the pop-up portion to the inside of the card. Just using my Barely Arts precision glue going around the edges of the circle and the edges of the card before we adhere this inside. Just trying to be careful that I don't get glue anywhere I don't want it, and line this up pretty evenly on the inside of the card. Once I have that completed, I close it and give it a good rub. Then we're going to add a little bit of glue just to that very center piece of that circular spiral. We'll let that dry really well before we try to do anything else with that. And while we're letting that dry, we're going to adhere the front pieces of our card front. Just adhered that musical note piece. I have my Misty here, and we're going to use that the musical notes and stave part of this. So there are several musical notes that I cut out on that die set, and we're also going to use a second majestic guitar that I put together, because there's a couple of ways you can put that together. Plus we're going to use all of these mini instruments from the mini musical instruments. This is going to be a really fun card. We're also going to use the mini guitar. I think I use all of the components of this collection on this one card. It's a really fun card. There's two different sizes of musical notes and stave here. Our musical, what is that called? The, anyway, the different symbols. We're going to use these, oh golly, I wish I could remember what this is called. That's not the stave, I don't think it's called. Maybe it is. Gosh, let me pause and figure it out. Yes, this is the stave, or staff is how I learned it in high school or in school, because I started music lessons in 5th grade. And then the clef notes are what I was thinking, the large, there's treble clef, and I'm drawing a blank on what the other one is. Pause. Okay, turns out there are several clefs. I was only exposed to treble clef and bass clef in high school band class. But so this is treble clef. That's what I'm most familiar with. But I did play bass clef when I played the bass clarinet. Regardless, that's what these pieces are, if you're interested. And then, of course, these are the notes. So I'm just throwing these in a scattering across the stave here, or the staff, and that just creates a lot of fun interest on the front of your card. Next, I'm going to add a sentiment, and I'm just going to tuck that right in on the main body of the guitar. These fit beautifully. I did not choose to use a specific family part on this. This very much reminds me of the Disney movie Coco. I love that movie. My kids love that movie. They're all adults. We still like Disney movies. I can't help it. We're going to add some of the instruments on this beautiful spiral. I did start adding them on both sides of the spiral, but I decided it would work best if I kept them all to one side, especially as it folds up. Now, the piano keys, you could put them on the spiral, but I figured they were a little too heavy, so I adhered them directly to the inside of the card. And I'm just adhering these different instruments in a variety of spots. I want to spread them out a little bit so that they aren't all just clumped around the sentiment. As I'm adhering them, I almost forgot to make sure that all of the parts are going to stay inside the card base when I'm adhering them. Partway through, I decided I wanted all of my images to be facing the same way, and in that when you open them, they're all on the same side of the spiral. Just going to keep adding the different pieces here. I wanted to keep the bow for the violin right with the violin. Just made the most sense to me. Just going to close that. I do have to adjust how I have the saxophone in there because the mouth of the saxophone is sticking outside of the card base. Now this is a 5x7 card base, which is pretty large, and that's why I'm able to adhere all of these different pieces. There are, like I said, 2 different sizes of notes and clef marks. This is a sharp note. Just going to add all of these. Now I cut the stave and the notes from the Onyx Assorted Treasured Card Stack collection. I did the stave in pearl metallic, and I did the notes and the clef marks in black, or the Onyx glitter cardstock. Now I do end up taking the saxophone off carefully and re-adhering it so that it does not stick outside of the card base when it's closed. And that completes this card. Look at that pop-up mechanism. So simple, so fun, and you can pack so much inside this card. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun playing with all the musical instrument pieces. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, now is a great time to do that. And check that description box below for a link to all of the products that I used today. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And come back tomorrow for the first day of the 12 Days of Stitchmas. We're going to do a daily video for that coming up. Until next time, here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Bye-bye.